Hello, my name is Mark Walls. This project is for EDU 8151 Technology, part of the Doctor of Education program at Trevecca Nazarene University. So I'm really excited to talk about the infographic that I created today, the program that I used to create it, the topic that I've chosen to focus on, as well as the software that I used to create the video, and all the fun little tools and just the good time that I had putting the whole thing together. I chose to use Pictochart mostly because I love the templates that were involved in it. I've stayed away from it in the past because it's very expensive if you get away from the free templates, but I was able to find one that I really enjoyed that fit the timeline concept perfectly. Normally when I create an infographic, I'll use Canva, which is a program that I like and I feel very comfortable with, and you can see some of the different types of things that I've created through Canva before. We did a rebrand in our school that I created called Refresh the Nest, and that is the logo that I designed there. Extending on that, we kind of did a social marketing rebranding under the hashtag We Are Northeast, and so I built a poster there and designed that, highlighting the important parts of who we are as a school, and then kind of branched that out as well to create an actual infographic timeline of how we were going to ideate that process of building our own brand. I even, when we were trying to do a peer observation process in our school, which didn't work, by the way, it's hard to get buy-in for that, created these door hangers and laminated them. That way teachers would actually try to, be more inviting and open up their doors for their peers. So for this project, I wanted to get away from Canva, which I know and understand very well, and try something new in Pictochart, which is something that I could add to my toolbox of resources if I could conquer it. So this is what I came up with, and I wanted to focus on this concept of a connected educator because that's what I've tried to become, tied around this concept of, how is the communication with stakeholders, and in particularly communication and engaging parents, how has that evolved, through the use of technology? That was the topic that I decided I wanted to tackle. Now I could take all the credit I wanted to and act like that was some masterpiece of my own, but in the spirit of transparency, I thought I would include the template so you could see the adjustments that I've made from the original. So I put these two together so you could see how I've made some adjustments. I created a new background and added a pattern to it. I changed the colors to reflect the colors of the school district that I work in, and just gave it more of a personal touch. Now is a good time for me to tell you that I'm using iMovie to create this whole background, and I'm creating the video on iPhoto. Okay, so let's focus in on the first three steps of the timeline here of technology and communicating with stakeholders. It almost seems passé for me to be talking about email, especially when you consider the fact that You've Got Mail starring Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks came out 20 years ago. But ironically, if I send an email to a parent, there's no guarantee that I'm going to get a response. It's still the most innovative form of technology that I use, unfortunately. So I can't start using any form of technology integration without mentioning email and how important that is in communicating with parents. The second one is Google Classroom. Now, I'm not an expert in this by any means. As a matter of fact, I'm just now beginning to learn how to use it, but it's something that is allowing me to, attempt blended learning in a matter that I've never been able to do before. So I'm very excited about the prospects behind that and just being able to continue to be innovative in my classroom. And the third one is Twitter. And to be honest with you, I just threw this in here just to brand myself and give myself a plug. But really, I've said before, and I'll continue to say this to as many people will listen, Twitter's been the best professional learning of my career so far, but it's also been the best method for communicating with, any type of stakeholder that's involved in education. For the next three set of technologies, I wanted to focus on STEM, devices, and the dreaded Facebook. So STEM's a big part of who I am as an educator. I implement those thinking strategies and problem-solving skills in my classroom every single day. The business partnerships I've been able to make in the community have helped create career opportunities for my students that they would not have had before. And through those communications that I've had with them, those opportunities have been made possible. The devices in our district, we're not a one-to-one school district, but we're at a saturation level that we've never been at before. This is something that they're very proud of, rolling out 20,000 brand new computers, and something that I'm excited about as well. And the last thing is Facebook. Facebook to me at my age is a personal thing. It's not something where I'm going to use as a teacher to communicate with people. But I've had to communicate and share with my administrators that you have to meet parents where they are. And right now, Facebook is where they're at. Adults have taken Facebook away from kids, and we just have to accept that. And that's where we have to reach out to them, communicate to them. So I've created a school Facebook page, and we're slowly starting to divvy out some information through those channels. The last three I'm going to talk about are online assessments, gamification, and my favorite platform, which is the Remind app. Online assessments. You thought I was going to say TN Ready, didn't you? But I'm not. So in our district, we have this new thing called Power School Analytics and Power School Assessment. It's a beautiful program that it ties assessments to standards and then embeds that directly into our grade book. I absolutely love it. It allows me to provide real-time feedback on assessments. It's really going to take the communication piece to the next level as far as communicating mastery of standards, and we might even be able to finally have the conversation of standards-based grading at the high school level, but I won't get that optimistic. The next part is gamification, and admittedly I'm not an expert in this area, but I do teach at a school that features the Academy of Game Design and Programming Technology, or something very similar to that. So I have resources available at my disposal to make gamification a part of my classroom, and that's something that I'm really looking forward to implementing in the near future. And finally, the last thing is Remind. Remind is a big part of who I am as an educator. I'm a Remind connected educator, and it's been very useful, particularly since the chat features come out. Being able to maintain safe communication that I can monitor, that I have a record of. That way I can continue to help and assist my students after school hours, on the weekend, and again it circles back to meeting students and stakeholders where they're at. I hope you've enjoyed this look into technology as a method for communicating with stakeholders. I think you'll find out that I'm terrible at meeting time requirements, but that's okay because I have an important story to tell all the time, and it's hard to put a time requirement on a story when the story matters. So I want to thank you very much. And last but not least, I have to turn it over to my main man.
I just have two more words to say. Obama out.